audience inside is ready for two old adversaries. Wednesday night rivalry presented by Coors Light. It's the Boston Bruins and Philadelphia Flyers. And good evening, everyone, with Eddie Olczyk, Pierre McGuire in just a moment. I'm Mike Emmerich. The Boston Bruins begin the second half of their season. Right now, they hold the last of the wild card berths. What's something you've noticed that might enable them to hang on to that?
Well, I think first off is getting healthy. They need David Krejci back, Doc, because scoring goals has been a battle as of late. Only 2 in their last 2 games, 9 in their last 5. For me, it's all about secondary scoring, getting depth, and that's what General Manager Don Sweeney did in the offseason. He went out and acquired Boston native Jimmy Hayes from the Florida Panthers. He's got 10 goals on the year. He had a hat trick right before the new year. He scored the lone goal the other night in the game against the New York Rangers. He's got big size. He has the ability to shoot and go to the blue paint. The Bruins need him to continue to score some goals. Matt Bolesky came over as a free agent from the Anaheim Ducks. He had 22 goals last year. A physical player. He's got 7 on the year, but they need more offensively. So I think you take some of the pressure off of guys like Bergeron and Marchand. If you can get that secondary scoring, Hayes and Bolesky could certainly do just that.
Well, on the Flyers side, Jake Voracek was tied for 4th in the entire league last year. You said he'd have a breakout season, and he did. Through 40 games this year, just 4 goals. What have you noticed about him?
Well, I didn't predict that, Doc, and if I did, we go play the Powerball tonight, that's for sure. But for me, Jake Voracek is one of those type of players that makes everybody else around him better. Yes, he's gotten off to a tough start. He's only got 4 goals, but he does lead the Flyers with 22 assists. He's playing the left side, which he hasn't done in his hockey career. We talked to Dave Axtell, the head coach of the Flyers, and he said he's been getting better over the course of the last couple of months, and that is great news for his center iceman, Claude Giroux.
The Flyers have won 3 straight, 5 straight at home. And Michael Del Zotto has been an important part of that recent success. No Flyer skater is out there more, 24 minutes a game. The 25-year-old second-year Flyer will skate to center ice to talk to Pierre in just a moment. Here in Philadelphia, Honda proudly presents tonight's starting goalies, beginning with Tuukka Rask. In his last 6 road starts, he has given up 2, 2, 1, and none. Fantastic lifetime against the Flyers, 9, 1, and 2. At the other end, Steve Mason, 9 of his team's 18 wins. His 3rd straight start, he won the last 2, stopping 51 of 54. In a game of hitting, no Bruin has more of them than Matt Bolesky, 138th, 10th in the league. No Flyer has more hits than Radko Gudas, 174 of them, 5th in the league. The last time these two teams met, Radko had 3 hits. A light total that night for him. Schenn, Raffl, and Couturier, 4th full game together, highly productive. Start this game for the Flyers. Mark Streit and Nick Schultz, number 55 with a puck now, playing in game number 1,000. Congratulations to him.
Started as an 18-year-old with the Minnesota Wild, Doc. Look where he is now.
Brought ahead by Bergeron, snapped up by Mason, and play stops. Claude Julien, 902nd game coach, 9th year with the Bruins, will be an assistant next fall for his native Canada at the World Cup of Hockey. Dave Haxtell, coached North Dakota 11 years, made the NCAA tournament all 11. First year in the NHL, trying to get the Flyers from the outside to the inside. He's got half a season to go.
Pretty neat. He's from Warburg, Alberta. There's another NHL coach from there, Lindy Ruff. He's in his 19th season. Warburg's a small farming hamlet.
Small places can very important souls, and he's an interesting guy to chat with. Eddie and I were able to spend some time with him before the game. Learned a lot about him and his team, which is the purpose for doing it. But this is brought ahead now by Ruff. Ahead for Schenn. Poked on by Couturier. Handed across. Torrey Krug gives back over for Kevin Miller. California native saw this one directed back in by Bergeron. Roughed up a bit by Radko Gudas right in front of Pierre. And a crowd gathers at the benches and peaceably breaks up.
Both Hayes and Chara came to the aid of Bergeron after Gudas was giving Bergeron the business after he dumped the puck in right in front of Pierre.
He gave him a stick right in the mouth. I can't believe there was no call on that. Watch Gudas' stick come up on the weekend.
This is kicked along and fed to the back. Medvedev a shot, and that ricocheted off a leg there and is played back along. Matt Trotman got in the way of that. This is whirled back along by Chara. Kept alive and swung toward the net. Chopped away, but got by Simmons, and he stacked a strong shot that went wide. Pushed through Medvedev and back down.
Eddie, that's not the matchup. They want Ryan Spooner against Claude Giroux. They don't want that matchup at all. Flyers get last change. It'll be interesting to see how the Bruins adjust.
It's just a big loss with David Krejci not being in the lineup, so got to make sure that it'll be much tougher for Claude Julien, especially getting the last. They're having to put his players out first and not able to get the matchups he wants.
Connolly was walled there by Medvedev. Meanwhile, it's played along off of Scott Lawton, and it kicks on for Colin Miller. Miller banked it ahead. Connolly able to direct it further, and then it's twisted around behind by the Swiss-born Mark Strike.
Here come the energy guys for the Bruins. Look out, keep your head up.
Played back along on a backhander by Reed that clicked across off of Chara. Forced along now for the take by Reed. Run into by Chara. That one sent away by Rask. Brought back ahead again and lugged on by Ferraro. And then in front it's jabbed away by Mason. This fourth line in the last game came up with 8 shots on goal, 5 hits. Ferraro feeds it across, and there's a shot by Ronaldo that's blocked up high by Mason.
Getting a warm welcome back to Philadelphia.
Yeah, they remember the shot he gave Couturier the last time these teams played in Boston.
Did not finish that game. The Flyers won it in overtime, 5-4. Trotman has that one knocked away, and down goes Reed. In Philadelphia. Here is Chara handing it on back to Trotman and then back over. They just thought there should have been a penalty there. Meanwhile, this is turned along and carried right back up. Trying to get a shot away was Belmar. No luck there. Twisted back along and sent back off a stick. That of Hayes, and it comes to Gudas. Then Del Zotto. Fed back across for the carry back on. Fourth liners out there for the Flyers right now. Jake Voracek had played on that line at one time. That one thrown in front, and a big ooh goes up from the crowd as it's nudged on near Bergeron. Flung back along on second effort by Vandevelde, but taken on by Trotman.
Good idea there from Michael Del Zotto. Pinched in along the left wing boards and just threw the puck at the net, and Rask was able to deflect it out of a danger zone.
Nice keep there by Eriksson. Keeps the pressure on. Gudas gave it back to him, and a shot right into the breadbasket of the kneeling goaltender, Mason.
Well, a couple of minutes ago, we talked about the battle right in front of Pierre. There's Radko Gudas pushing, gets the stick up a little bit a couple times, a shot from behind, and then here comes Hayes. Here comes Chara. The referees say, go ahead and play on.
Matt Martin has the most. Be fun to play against him in Clutterbuck all night, wouldn't it? My
Pass the
goodness.
Washington Capitals last year's first round.
Matt Bolesky, we noticed there, was 10th. Alexander Ovechkin is 18th. Not many 500-goal scorers in the history of this league have been prominent hitters, but he is one. Mr. G. Howe was another. Along this comes down for Spooner, flopped it on. Oh, and Krug was sent flying on a hit from Braden Shen, and Miller says, okay, there's a price for that. Miller throwing the roundhouse rights. Shen threw some rights, tumbled down. Major penalties will be coming up to those guys.
Playoff atmosphere here. No surprise. Big hit from Shen against Krug, and a response from Miller. Clean, hard hit. And then Kevin Miller out of the University of Vermont says to Braden Shen out of Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, college guys can fight too.
They will both rest. We will resume at center.
And Eddie, I wonder right now with Spooner against Giroux if the Bruins won't change on the fly if they can get puck possession to get that matchup against Giroux.
Well, they don't have many options, Pierre, right? I mean, you can play the Bergeron line, but really, that's really your only safe option against this dangerous line, even though they've not had a great season.
I agree.
Manning a shot that ricocheted wide and off the back of the cage, pushed out to the front, scrambled for there. Simmons couldn't poke it home, and it comes along for the wind around behind by Trotman to Chara. And the big 6'9" lays it ahead, and this one floated across where it's carried on by Spooner. Backhanded one in front. Bolesky jammed one to the front that's off Medvedev and can be played ahead, but then lost by Giroux. Jammed on further back behind and settled down there by Medvedev, who can play off. Thrown through Giroux. Seidenberg a shot, and that one blockered away to the corner, as stepping in the way of that one was Brandon Manning. Meanwhile, it is sent on back again, and Jake Voracek is able to take that.
A good last half of that shift for the Spooner line against the Giroux line.
Very good.
Frank Vatrano out on this line with Brett Connolly, the other winger. Kempinen, the centerman for Boston on this unit. Meanwhile, it is worked along by R.J. Umberger, still looking for goal number 1 of this year in game 26 for him. Seidenberg able to foist it on to Connolly, and Connolly able to protect and throw it back away. Charging after this is Vatrano. He's able to rule out the icing with that kind of hustle. Two aside continue to battle, and it's sent on around the wall where it is kept by Trotman, and that one blocked away to the corner. Good job done there by Matt Reed. Reed with a 3-point outing against the New York Islanders. And that was after he had been a healthy scratch. Turning along with this is Trotman, walled off by Reed. Max Talbot moving in to check his man. The fourth liners are against one another right now, trying to center with Vandevelde. It is eventually sent back. Delzato with it there, rolled it around behind. Vandevelde turns, hands it on back now for a feed that comes over for Belmar. Trigger pull on that one would not work, and it's shoveled back out again and will be chased down by Gudas, and there will be an icing on the play. Never miss a moment with the official NHL app. Get highlights, team news, and live audio, or upgrade for live out-of-market games and replays. Download the official NHL app for your favorite devices. Coincidental majors, the only penalties that we've had so far in the game. I do apologize for pausing there. I was hoping that if there were any additional penalties besides the majors, they would be announced or posted on the board. However, there were advertisements up there as well as the 50-50. Not that that's not important, it's just I was looking for penalties. Here's a shot that is blocked down and forced ahead and on out to center.
Eddie, is a 50-50 in the Powerball a daily double?
Oh, my.
Well, if you hit both of them, absolutely.
Some people would not show up for work tomorrow, I guess, if that happened, right? Oh, long toss.
A lot of one-way conversations, I think.
It's worth $16,375, which seems like small potatoes. But anyway, back in to get this now is Seidenberg, along for Colin Miller. 3 shots on goal, and all have come off Bruin sticks.
And here's coaching, though. Look who's on the ice to play in the matchup game. Bergeron, Marchand, exactly what they want against Giroux.
And both teams recognizing that there's going to be a TV timeout at some point to get their better players an opportunity to get some more ice time before that commercial break.
Absolutely.
Nice reach by Colin Miller there, and this one played on through. Gudas takes over that one. Second-generation hockey player. His father played for the national team in what was then known as Czechoslovakia. Drive, and that one blocked back, can be controlled around to the outside and handed to Delzato for a shot that's directed just wide by Simmons.
Beautiful little redirect right between the legs.
Voracek's shot was knocked down and played along by Chara, but can be rescued and worked along by Simmons in traffic. Poked along further for Jimmy Hayes to outlet and sent back in by Bolesky. Crashing the boards as the right-hand catching Mason had to deal it on his backhand to get it to Schultz. Directed on by Reed. Reached for by Lawton. Played back in by Chara.
Good back check there from Louis Eriksson. If he doesn't get that puck, the Flyers are off to the races. A 2-on-1 from the red line in.
In this game, if you're not back checking, you're not playing.
Handed across now by Streit.
That's how intense the environment is down here right now on both benches.
Well, you had a lot of bodies near you, and you're able to hear some of the things being said here. So
get on your horse and start working is one of them.
Here's Connolly moving ahead, but he handed that one over to Manning, and Manning angles it back out for the whip right back in again. And the line change as Lawton comes to the bench after doing that. Torrey Krug gives it on now to Brett Connolly, and Connolly is able to rag it along and flip it off a stick back deep. Medvedev met there by Kempinen. Medvedev tried to play it further, and it's whacked around behind, and moving well in is Trotman to play that one further. Wanted Connolly. It bounced free and eventually came to him. Wanted to return to Trotman and did. Connolly once more battling the boards, nearing the halfway point of the first period, and the Flyers are without a shot. Twisted right back out again as far as Chara, and rifled in once more. Shift change for the Bruins. Manning hands it over. Hustling after this is Max Talbot. Played it along to Ronaldo. Ronaldo working around behind, still dealing, wanting to get it out in front, but could not. Ronaldo had 5 shots on Monday in the game at Madison Square Garden. Meanwhile, this one kicked on back. Was that the one at center ice on the near side you were noticing, Pierre, or was there something in front of you?
Your near side, Landon Ferraro making a beeline right at Ryan White, and he got him. And I think we're going to see a lot of that.
Oh, it's a shame, isn't it? Sent off the glass and back a line. It is a contact sport anyway. Rolled back in by Del Zotto and then controlled by Seidenberg. Banked it around behind for Miller. Wound it back up, hoping for Hayes. Del Zotto in the way. The puck got by both of them. Flicked on by Bergeron. And a logjam of players going for it. Emerging for the moment was Marchand, but now it's steered on back to Couturier. Couturier has had the hot hand lately. 12 points in his last 10 games. And this line together for 4th full game since being assembled midway in the game at Los Angeles.
Nice play there from Jimmy Hayes. He heard Colin Miller yelling for that puck, and he tried to make a pass off the boards, but good recognition there by Hayes.
Hayes with 10 goals, and there's a long shot from Colin Miller that is blocked away by Mason. Hayes around behind with it now, tried to get to the front, but could not control on the backhand. And so it is nudged back along, and then left behind for another play to be made by Simmons. And this time he will fake and then carry it back in. Simmons wanted to play through. Bolesky had something to say about that. Along it comes near Voracek, who has a little space. Voracek shoveled one that's directed back along and could not be kept in. A delayed offside here. Flyers head to the bench and a change, and so the delayed offside is wiped. Carried back up by Louis Eriksson. Handed back across now to Spooner. Spooner led it to the back. Trotman with it there. Gives on to Chara. Wrist one that's snagged and held by Mason. The only entry on the sheet tonight. Majors to Miller and Shen for fighting. All-Star Weekend heads to Nashville. The biggest names, the greatest skills compete in the 2016 Honda NHL All-Star Weekend. Coverage begins Friday, January 29th on NBC SN. Claude Giroux will be one of the people attending, and he is in on this faceoff and punched one on to Schultz, who was able to grab it in front of his own cage and then shuttle it high and back down. No icing on this, so Trotman will take a look and feed one right ahead that's smartly on and is carried back by Spooner. Let it on across now. Bolesky has to pivot as wiping out and intently doing so. One of the Flyer defenders strike. Rattled on around near strike, but it was not held in, and so we get an offside.
Well, exits out of the zone are so important, and the Boston Bruins are going to be exiting the zone, but you got to be available, right? And watch the route here of Ryan Spooner. Looks like Zach Trotman's going to go up the boards, but he goes right up the middle of the ice. Now all of a sudden the Bruins have something going, an odd man rush, 3-on-2. So as a defenseman, as you're coming in behind the net there, you want to make sure that your head is up. You're seeing what your options are. Your head can't be buried down at the ice, and that was a nice exit out of the zone and got a quick developing 3-on-2 off that quick pass.
Kampainen with a hit on Umberger, who's able to pitchfork one back down. There will be an icing on this.
Big assignment for Zach Trotman out of Lake Superior State, playing against the top line along with Zdeno Chara of Simmons, Giroux, and Voracek. Not an easy assignment for that young man, but he continues to evolve, and especially playing with the big man, Zdeno Chara. Doug Huda, the assistant coach for the Bruins, he'll change the defense and look for that matchup. If they can't get the forwards, they'll definitely get the 2 defensemen out there.
Forced to the corner. Poked along by Bergeron. Pitching further is Krug. Bit of a shoulder that sent Matt Reed down to the ice. 5 players converge, a couple peel off, and the puck comes back to Hayes, who was watching that point. Returned back over, and Krug has it with a head fake and a pass over, and a one-time shot by Kevin Miller was blocked down. Meanwhile, it can be carried back up on the attack of Reed. Reed trickled it in. Miller went to get that one. Rubbed out, and there's been some of that this period. Ahead it's sent for Krug, but he couldn't get there in time, as it is Del Zotto first, and then Lawton second.
Earlier in this shift, Brad Marchand was right in the blue paint of Steve Mason as the play left his zone. He was marking at the official, Mason that is, telling the referee to keep an eye on Marchand in his blue paint.
Swatted on back for Dennis Seidenberg to play. Seidenberg clipped one that is knocked down there, and a shot off Mason, rebound. Oh, and he made a save there too. Held on back now by Colin Miller, given to Seidenberg, back to Colin Miller again. Fires, oh, and Mason was already down. It did not find its way through, and this is played on back now and off the stick of Michael Raffl. Raffl able to escape, has to pivot with it. Run into by Seidenberg, it's back to the point. Oh, and a shot by Gudas was saved and paddled away by Rask. First official shot on goal by the Flyers. That is after the 13.5-minute mark, elapsed time in the period. And we get the first penalty that will bring about a power play.
Not a good penalty here from Conley. Looked like he leg whipped Michael Raffl on this back check, and the Flyers are going to get a power play.
Close call there. Rebound as well. Mason superb. We are scoreless.
What do you want to try to establish in an important game like this early on?
Well, you know, it's going to be an up and down game. There's going to be speed to this game, but there's going to be tight spaces. So we have to establish getting pucks in deep, making sure we're getting some pucks behind their defensemen. And one of the things we haven't done is get enough pucks on the net right now.
Dave, how much are you paying attention to matchups?
Well, there's going to be some matchups that we want to look for, but most importantly, I want to get each one of our groups in a rhythm. So I'm not going to take our group out of rhythm, you know, solely for matchups.
You're at the 41 game mark of your young coaching career. What have you learned the most about the National Hockey League?
Well, you know, you got to respect the game so much at this level. The consistency that individual players and teams have on a night in and night out basis is very impressive.
Thanks for doing this.
Thank you.
Sears power play. It's fed on across to Voracek. Gave it on further to Schenn. Schenn pivots now. Voracek gliding through the four-man defensive box as Schenn just holds. Let it on back now to Streit across to Giroux. Streit again where a shot was blocked away by Marchand. Taken by Giroux. Led back to Streit once more. Claude Giroux fed it across. Voracek settles it down there. Voracek fed it over. Tipped along but grabbed off by Giroux. Deflecting that was Bergeron. It's Giroux on back once more. Streit a shot, and that one knocked down and spiked back down the ice by Bergeron. He and Marchand come to the bench for a change. Very quiet here. 43 seconds to go on this power play and under 5 minutes to go first period. Gudas' shot is the only one the Flyers have registered here in the first. 7 shots by the Bruins. Del Zotto moving in there, rocked a little bit by Seidenberg. Reaching in was Trotman, but taking is Couturier. Couturier angled it on back. Medvedev returns it to him. Medvedev across. It is taken on by Del Zotto. Rocked a little bit there by Talbot. Puck given up now to Ferraro. Ferraro going to work on Medvedev, who drops back. He's got Talbot breaking. Oh, and that one wouldn't go. The backhand attempt that came from Talbot. Looked like it was blocked up high by Mason. This one careened on back now and can be played back at center by Couturier. And penalty time is up to Connolly. Fed across. Reed, a shot. The save is made by Rask. The best opportunity that the Flyers have had. Matt Reed turning with that. Fed one in front that ricocheted off the skates of Couturier and is played along now by Eriksson. To a side at the half boards. More changes being made by the Flyers. They get Belmar out there. Nick Schultz has come from the bench as well as Seidenberg plays on to Trotman, and Trotman outlets. Talbot across, Connolly back in, and the clock winds down to the last 3:40 of this opening period of play. Belmar connects back ahead. It is poked on near Torrey Krug, and the Michigan Stater hands it back on to Kevin Miller. Krug with a look ahead and the hand back to Miller. Nudged it ahead now for the play to be made by Louis Eriksson. Stoked back in, and Mason is able to handle that one.
Mason's done a pretty good job here tonight when the Bruins have shot the puck in, stopping any possible forecheck. Bruins have to do a better job of putting it high and hard around the glass, keep the goaltender in his cage.
Worked on back now, and Krug is able to lift it. Settled down there by Ryan Spooner. Tried to feather it through for Eriksson. It's turned back over, and Belmar can bring it along. Belmar able to lift it back in, and then is run into by Matt Bolesky as there are more changes at the benches. Sent back out again by Chara. There has been some energy from the hitting. There was one scrap. Rather quiet here. Full house here watching again in Philadelphia. Bruins and the Flyers. Giroux a shot and a great save made. He has struck. It is his fifth. It is Voracek.
Well, the giveaway by Frank Vatrano in his own zone. Trying to make this play through the middle of the ice. It goes right to the stick of Claude Giroux, a rebound, and then the sweet hands of Jake Voracek gives the Flyers a 1-0 lead.
Yeah, the turnover mattered, but I don't like the rebound either. That hit Tuukka Rask right in the midsection. He's got a corral, and you talked about the sweet hands. They're the hands.
So the Flyers strike first on their fourth shot of this period. And the most productive recently of the lines is out there with Raffl, Couturier, and Schenn. Banked along now for a pitch back out by Hayes. Most productive of the Bruins lines lately. At least in terms of reputation with Marchand and Bergeron. And they quickly come off. And so does the Couturier line. More juggling of lines against one another. Pointing up Pierre's question that he addressed to Dave Haxtell about how much you deal with that. You don't want the other coach to control your bench, for sure. The lone assist on the goal by Voracek came from Claude Giroux. It is fed on back now for Miller. Led back over for Krug to advance. A wall was set up there, so he just poked it on through. Manning plays it. Taking it is Lawton. Lost it momentarily for Talbot, and it's angled on. Moving with this one, but unable to get very far was Lawton. Tipped on back, and a fancy pass that came from Medvedev. Eventually a slug back in by Ferraro, and he comes to the bench for a change. I don't know how you're seeing the game, Pierre, with all of these changes right in front of you, and they are occurring quickly. This is a feed in front on, a great save by Mason. As it is a shot from Eriksson that Mason was able to block down and cover. Strong there. 11 shots total, only one goal, and that's the guy that got it, Jake Voracek, with his fifth.
Watch this play by Matt Bolesky off the right skate to create the chance for the Bruins. Beautiful play. All of a sudden, the Bruins have a 2-on-1 and a quality chance there for Louis Eriksson. When I go back to the Jake Voracek goal, you see his bottom hand? Watch how he turns this thing over, and that allows him to turn and get this puck into the wide open net. The reach, but he turns that bottom hand over, and that forces the stick to come on top, and he puts it right into the wide open gaping net. Beautiful play there from Voracek, and there you see the skill set of Matt Bolesky. Even that soccer-style type of pass.
Voracek had not scored a goal in 5 games. It is his 5th of the year. Claude Giroux gets the only assist, and he had had only 2 points in 10 games leading up to this. So relief on the part of both of them. This one knifed away from Giroux by Spooner and banked back out again.
Flyers have found their offense here the last couple of games. Last 3 games, they scored 4 goals in each.
They were fantastic in Minnesota. Really, really good in their overtime win.
No icing on this play as we're down to the last 28 of the period. There are roller coaster rides for most teams. Seidberg banked this one back in. Forced back along again by Mason.
That's another handle that he was talking about. That's a bad shoot-in, too easy for Mason. Look where the puck is, 180 feet away from him.
They'll have time to talk about such things 8 seconds from now. An intermission, and during that time, we'll hear from the guys back at the studio. Here's White with one last shot into the glove of Rask, and that takes care of the first 20 minutes. Coming up on the Lexus Intermission Report with Liam, Mike Keith, and NHL insider Bob McKenzie, Kopitar close to a new deal. Interesting. Shots were 8-5 Bruins in the first period, but the goals were 1-0 Philadelphia. Voracek from Giroux with 2:32 to go in that period. There were majors and a minor and a goal. The NHL on NBCSN is brought to you by Clean Crisp Coors Light and by Lexus and their pursuit of perfection. Hey, let's go back in time a little bit. And let's see a tall, angular, second-generation NHL forward, Peter Maxwell McNabb, played in the NHL 14 years, 8 with Boston, over 400 goals, counting playoffs. Also playing 14 seasons with Boston and Philadelphia, Ken Linseman, an annoying, clever, mischievous player who centered one of Philadelphia's finest lines with Brian Propp and Paul Holmgren, had nearly a point a game and over 2 penalty minutes a game. Down to Pierre.
Thanks a lot, Doc. Well, you heard Mike Milbury, Keith Jones, and Liam McHugh talk about it. Eddie talked about it in the first period. Here's why the Bruins aren't spending enough time in the Flyer zone. Steve Mason is handling the shoot-ins so well, and he's recognizing his outlets, so almost acting as if he's another defenseman for the Philadelphia Flyers. So if the shoot-ins aren't better, you can't establish a forecheck, and when your goalie makes the right read moving the puck, you'll never get a forecheck going.
At the beginning of the period, the Talbot line will start against Claude Giroux, Wayne Simmons, Jake Voracek. A little bit of sparring by Ronaldo and Simmons, and that one sent out of play into the Flyers bench area.
You have to have, as Beer showed us on that video package, of there has to be a purpose with a shoot-in, and one way to keep most goaltenders in the net is put it high and hard around the glass, and most guys are going to stay home, and then you're allowed to get into those sets and the forechecks.
This is Giroux, watched by Talbot, feeds it back. Medvedev a shot. Oh, and getting a piece of that was Rask, and then it flipped wide. Turned on around near Ferraro, who chipped one ahead, and rushing ahead is Ronaldo. He's got Talbot with him. Ronaldo, save made by Mason. Just swept it right out of the air. My goodness.
Oh, did he ever, Doc? Really good eye. I'm right on the shooting line. And Zach Ronaldo's trying to get Mason to overcommit. Mason doesn't budge. He's anchored. He's square. And look at how Ronaldo's looking over. And Mason just rips it out of the air. That is some kind of goaltending from Steve Mason, who was the first Flyer on the ice this morning. Skated with the goalie coach, Kim Delabaugh. Did a fantastic job. And Eddie, I got to tell you, it reminded me so much of watching Corey Crawford and Scott Darling in Chicago at the early morning session, skating with Jimmy Waite. The fundamental work was outstanding for Steve Mason this morning.
Got a little extra whack, too, there from Ronaldo after he made that glove save.
Here's Couturier turning with it now. Fed one around in front, but that one is collared and nudged back out by Hayes. Marchand trying to catch up to it, cannot. And Gudas is there, and he pivots away. You notice that's a very active face mask that Mason is wearing. Lots of depictions of Flyers players. This is brought ahead by Couturier. Couturier curling around behind. Onto the back to Gudas. Handed on across. Delzato a shot, and that one blocked away to the corner. Feathered back onto Schenn. Pulls and tries to shake Bergeron. Not easy. Schenn yet again rocked a little bit by Miller. Meanwhile, it's carried around behind. Raffl impeded. There'll be a penalty that will be coming up to Bergeron for that.
Well, right in behind the left shoulder of Tuukka Rask. Michael Raffl gets position on Patrice Bergeron, and they're around the hands. Around the stick was okay, but then once it slid up, and then Raffl throws the hands up right in front of the official. Team with the 1-0 lead, that being the Flyers, the man advantage.
Boy, he's played well for Philadelphia, hasn't he, recently? Michael Raffl, Eddie, and Doc, he's been really solid for him.
Versatile player for sure.
That's a tribute to scouting. He was playing in Leksand over in Sweden with Philip Forsberg, and the Flyers found him and brought him over here as an undrafted player. Very, very good job of scouting by the Flyers.
Second power play of the night for the Flyers. Empty on the first one. Meanwhile, this is dealt on back. And Strike can play it across. Giroux a shot, and that blocked right back down and chipped away from the reach of strike. Claude Giroux twists back away from Kemppainen. He is out there with Louis Eriksson to penalty kill Seidenberg as well as Chara. Now Max Talbot joins the penalty kill. Brought right back ahead by Voracek. Voracek able to worm his way around behind and curl to the outside. Tucked it on back for Streit. Shoved it on across for a feed by Schenn around behind the Simmons and then handed on to Giroux. Back to Streit. Over to Voracek in a shot. Carefully geared away there by Raz. Sent back to the outside to Giroux. Led to the back to Streit. Holds and gives to Voracek again. Voracek fed one that's off the stick of Schenn. Poked along by Seidenberg, is able to carry it further, but still can't get it out. It comes to Chara, and it will be brought out, and it might be a 3-on-1. Led back up the wing, and a shot is directed high by Mason. An opportunity for Landon Ferraro.
Second great shorthanded opportunity for Landon Ferraro and Max Talbot. In the first period, they had 1-2. Mason shut it down.
For the last half minute of the penalty kill for the Bruins. They have killed off all but 2 of the last 39 recently. They have been outstanding. Their power play hasn't had a chance to get started, but they're the best in the league at that. Special teams, not a problem. Depth in scoring is. To the back, Delzato, a shot. Save made by Rask, and he got the glove down quickly ahead of Reed.
A good low hard shot from the back end from Michael Delzato, and you mentioned it, Doc, the quick glove of Tuukka Rask. Moved the puck low to high. Watch Rask, makes the save. Watch the trapper. It's free, and there's Reed looking for a empty net.
Delzato's really found his way here, hasn't he, Eddie and Doc? Playing for the Philadelphia Flyers, originally drafted by the Rangers, didn't work out there. Went to Nashville, didn't work out there, but it's working out here in Philadelphia.
There are several stories like that, and they are often told to a player who has just been traded when he arrives at a new one. Look at him. First couple of times it didn't work out. Look at him now. That could be you.
We've talked to him since he's been in Philadelphia. I mean, it's the same story. He knows really for the first time in his career, if he makes a mistake, he's going to go back out there. And you can play comfortable. You can play on your toes. And Michael Delzato gives you something a lot of defensemen don't. Is he can skate you out of trouble and make offensive plays.
Ryan Spooner a shot, and that blocked up high.
Remember, all players have blemishes. I mean, there isn't a perfect hockey player out there. And Michael Delzato's got a new lease on life here with Ron Hextall and the Philadelphia Flyers.
Chipped around there. Eriksson couldn't reach that, but it is gotten by Matt Bolesky, and he's able to jab it back in. Eriksson went down. Meanwhile, it is played along further. They try for Bolesky. Comes to Chara for a shot, and that one went off Bolesky. Shaken up on the play, and a 2-on-1 is developing back for the Flyers. Dropped across and conveniently right in the path of Zach Trotman. Fed it on over to Eriksson. Eriksson dropped it off, and twisting away with it, Marchand wanted to return, but then in the way was Van de Velde. Now Torrey Krug punched it on for Marchand, fed it over. Bergeron with a strong shot that was off the mark. Came back near him, punched to Krug, given on back now. Kevin Miller a shot, and that one directed away as kneeling to block that was Van de Velde.
Boy, what a shift for Van de Velde.
It is Krug again, and a save made by Mason.
Well, Van de Velde's the guy that did not shoot the puck. He made a blind backhand pass, never got a shot on that 2-on-1, and then he came back on to back check right after that and prevented the Bruins from getting a chance, and then he got in the lane there to block the shot of Miller. So a wide range of emotion there for Van de Velde.
Yeah, we talk about Van de Velde blocking a shot. Watch the Zdeno Chara. He's going to load it up, and that's going to go off the instep of Matt Bolesky's left foot, and he's laboring. He's going down the hallway to see the Boston Bruins trainer, Donnie Del Negro.
Very rarely a soft shot from Chara. Around this comes now, and it is tipped on back deeper by Voracek. And then even deeper, taken along by Schultz. Tucked on across now for Simmons, but he couldn't grab that one, and so it is around behind from Colin Miller on over to Chara. Leading plus-minus player on the team at a +10, and by far the player that serves the most time out on the ice during the game, Zdeno Chara. Under 25 minutes, and they were trying to manage his minutes, but by 3 minutes, he's more than anybody else. Taken away now by Giroux. He won't want us to mention it, but he's 38 years of age. He's ageless, though, the way he's playing. Here's Simmons throwing one, and that ricocheted away off of Rask. Gotten to the outside now. Medvedev, and another save. Rask. Rebound. Poked along. Second effort by Trotman. Gotten by Manning. Handed to Medvedev. Wanting to go by Chara. It's punched away and getting a piece Rask. Thrown along by Trotman. Bounced right back out to the front. Medvedev, a shot. What a save made by Rask. And he's able to cover.
What a crazy carom to the right of Tuukka Rask. The Bruins were going to exit the zone, and it took a funny bounce into the corner. Trotman throws it up high in the glass, and look where that puck comes up. And that's why a goaltender stays home when you shoot the puck around the glass. You just don't know, and Rask has to make an outstanding save. Trotman did everything right there. He just took a bad bounce, and the puck ends up in a quality area for the Flyers.
And believe it or not, Eddie, Dan O'Halloran, the official, came right over. He said, "Did that hit a stanchion?" I said, "Yes, it did." So that shows you how fast things happen at ice level. The official coming over wasn't sure what it hit.
This is Reed, rocked off there by Miller. Came onto the back, though, and is sent back along by Manning. 1-0 Flyers. Early stages of the second period. Shots are 12-10 in favor of Boston. 5-4 Flyers this period. Escaping around behind and wheeling to the outside. Throwing it back that time was Manning. A drive ricocheted wide and is played on by Reed. Shoved off was Umberger. Moving in was Lawton. Also there Kemppainen. Lawton escaped and pushed one off of Rask. He's able to hold on, and play is stopped. He was in close, but he could not get it past Tuukka Rask. And the score remains 1-0 the home team. Saturday night, it's win or go home as the Cardinals host the Packers in an NFC divisional playoff game. Coverage begins with Football Night in America, hosted by Bob Costas and Dan Patrick at 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific, only on NBC. Flick behind now for Miller to play through Hayes and down.
Little temperature difference for the Crew this weekend.
Isn't that the truth?
Well, Eddie and Doc, the man standing right in front of me, Dan O'Rourke. I called him O'Halloran, and so Dan O'Halloran's probably sitting at home going, "Wait a second, I'm not working," so I just want to make sure everybody knows we got it right. It's O'Rourke, not O'Halloran. And what a skater he is. Played minor pro hockey, Eddie, for a guy you might know, Doug Shedden.
Sure.
Down in Lafayette, Louisiana with the Ice Skaters many moons ago.
Do something about buses.
Oh, yeah.
Couturier let a shot go that eventually is played by Seidenberg, but right into Raffl. Austrian-born winger, able to slam on the brakes and wheel to the outside. Raffl sent one in front and screened off enough by Bergeron that time with Schenn. Schenn playing this one, though. Protects it pretty well. Got it onto the back for Guda's shot that ricocheted off the boards. Miller sent Couturier down. Miller able to play one that skipped on out. And good position there by Marchand, who gets some space. Marchand holding, dips the shoulder, wanted to go by Gudas, doubles back. Fed one around in front that comes to Chara, and Chara just waits, and then sent one that ricocheted past Trotman and on out to center. Rifled it back in, delayed offside. Is now wiped. May have heard the linesmen screaming as the Bruins were making a change there, but a couple of them were still offside when they came from the bench. And speaking of that, we have a halt to play. What do we got coming up on the sked here?
Well, tomorrow night, one of the hottest teams in the National Hockey League and winners of 8 in a row, the Blackhawks, will be in Montreal to take on the Canadiens, 6:30 Eastern right here on NBCSN. Friday night, the Hawks will be in Toronto to take on the Maple Leafs on the NHL Network, and Wednesday night rivalry returns next week. We will be in Hockey Town, the Blues and the Red Wings, with coverage beginning at 7 Eastern right here on NBCSN.
Battled around behind for Rask to make the stop and paddle it along. Sent ahead for Bolesky. Nicely cut off, though, and fed back out again by Mark Streit.
The other hot team is the Florida Panthers. Incredible run they've been on. Eventually just losing their first game in 13 in overtime in Vancouver.
Most teams will take 25 to 26 points, won't they?
Yes.
Yes, they will.
Here's Chara nudging it back along. A 6-point lead on the previously mentioned Red Wings for the top spot in the Atlantic. Loaded back on for a chip across that is settled down there and stoked on back by Belmont. And then Strite. A game of somewhat missed opportunity. Only 23 total shots as we near the halfway point in time. Fired back around by Mason. Taken by Max Talbot. Talbot fed it across. Shot, score! Kevin Miller roofed one, and the game is tied.
Boy, what a pass by Max Talbot. Looked like he was going to shoot the puck. And at the last second, he throws it back to the weak side. The opposite side that he is on. Right part of your screen. Mason stops it, throws it around, bypasses Strite, takes a funny bounce. Talbot off the skate, looks like he's going to shoot it, and there's Miller. Instead of staying to the outside, he walks in, gains about 10 feet, and blows it by Mason.
And usually, goalies, they don't catch on that side. That would be the deflector side. Mason's a silly sider, so his catching glove's on the other side. That's a rifle shot by Kevin Miller.
So we are even at 1, and Miller is back to field this one. Turned back over to the Flyers, though. Simmons sent one to a vacant point, and so back down it comes for Mason.
And that was one of the few times where Mason, you see right there, he handles a puck like a third defenseman. That's one of the few times when he handled the puck on that goal where the Flyers didn't handle it.
Max Talbot got the only assist on that goal as this one's chipped along, and he's got it. He's got Ronaldo, but he pushed it on goal himself, and the save made by Mason. Right back ahead with it comes Simmons. Simmons gliding back in. Shot one that was deflected along by Trotman, poked along by Talbot, and he's able to kick and control. Talbot floated one that is cut off there and tucked right back toward the corner. It is Reed. Cross-bodied by Talbot. Reed wheels to the outside. Led it on back to Del Zotto in the shot that flapped wide. Played back along by Umberger. Wrapped up by Trotman, and he goes down, and there'll be a penalty coming up for that. And a long toss down the ice will go wide of the vacated cage. Oh, boy. It was interesting to see Mason stop part way. No, it's going to go wide. I'm going to come off. Otherwise, he's been nearby and probably able to cut that one off. All of this is on the delayed penalty call. So on with it comes Couturier. Couturier nicely escapes, working to the outside. It's poked on back to Gudas. Swings it across. Del Zotto, nice swagger move to step free. To Gudas again. Fakes the shot, gives on over to Couturier. Back to Gudas once more. Swept it across to Del Zotto. And it's cut by the Bruins with 9:36 to go in the second. There will be a power play again to the Flyers when we return. It is a 1-1 game thanks to the goal by Kevin Miller.
Coach, you're back in the game. Anything you'd like to see a little bit different from your group?
Well, our first period wasn't very good. I thought, they took the play to us. We were losing all the wall battles. A little bit bitter in that period. We had a few good chances on outnumbered situations. Got to find a way to bury those.
Would you like to see your team more physical?
Yeah, we got to be more physical, but the physicality is what I'm talking about, losing those board battles. There's a lot of rims, and we got to win those battles as far as getting the puck out on our forecheck. We got to finish our checks here, so we can be better, no doubt.
Thanks a lot, Coach.
Hey, thanks.
Bruins have killed off both of the prior power plays in the game. And the Flyers go to work on their third power play. Number one power play unit is out there for them, including Voracek and Giroux. Handed on back now for the pass across that comes to Mark Strite. Strite had Voracek, who gave it to him nearby. Decides to delay and work in deep before passing back to him. Jake Voracek hands it back now for Giroux. Beg your pardon, to Strite, rather. Peeling off from the front of the net, and now moving back is Simmons. To the outside it is Giroux, giving back across. Thrown back over to Giroux, but he had to reach for it and has to settle it down. Giroux yet again, tripoding at the front of the net. Was Simmons, elevated across to Giroux again. Just delays. Then Strite, fans getting a little anxious. Across for Voracek, and the shot went off the glass and rattled around. Got a solution for this? Fans are restless. They want to see more shooting. Seems like that's advisable.
Well, I think once you get that open lane in the middle of the ice, to go ahead and shoot it once or twice, and then that'll open up all those plays to the outside. Actually, the Voracek-Giroux play from board to board worked nicely, but Giroux just wasn't able to pull the trigger quick enough.
Second wave of power play guys are out there now for the Flyers, including Matt Reed. Fed back to the corner and dealt to the back by Couturier. Walked across Delzato to Medvedev, and that one rattled wide off the boards.
And Rask never saw that. He had a double screen in front of the net. You had Raffl and you had Reed right in front. Medvedev with the right idea just missed the far side.
Oh, he almost was able to pick his way through, but just enough from Seidenberg to prevent that.
Reminds you of another defenseman that comes from his hometown, Chelyabinsk. The great Sergei Gonchar with that shot and then the one-on-one move.
Penalty box is empty. Under 7.5 to go here in the second, and it's tied at 1-1. Forced back in and a crazy bounce off the boards. And then a battle had to be enacted there by Rask to keep possession for his team. It's flown on back, and Eriksson there turning. Eriksson holds through traffic. Got it back now. Colin Miller a shot, and that one was wide. Pumped on a round taken by Spooner. Led it around behind, and after it is Eriksson. Eriksson tried to beat the point, got it back to Colin Miller again, and his shot deflected up and out of play.
Now, they say all the time, if you're a defender, keep your stick on the ice and don't play the puck, play the man. Seidenberg has a stick on the ice, and he doesn't play the puck, he plays the man. Crafty move by Medvedev, textbook defense from Dennis Seidenberg to cage you back.
Good support there from Torrey Krug to come over and help out.
It's thrown back along on second effort by Stryton. Whipped to the front. Nicely jabbed away by the goal stick held by Mason. Closed off there was Simmons. Nicely defended by Bolesky. Simmons tries to start back, and that one knifed away by Colin Miller. Brought on back again for a hurried shot by Voracek that's jabbed away again in goal by Rask. The Giroux-Voracek unit is starting to look much more confident out there. They have connected on the one goal. This is Eriksson backhanding one that is batted away by Mason, and then riding up off the crossbar and headed to the bench right now is Colin Miller. So now it's Schultz. Banked it around behind for the take there, and the hold by Strike. Former defense partner of Severin Blindenbacher on the national team. Strite is able to motor his way out and throw one ahead that is taken deeply there and worked along behind by Raffl. Raffl wanted to play further, but it is cut off there and nicely twisted back out by Krug. Remarkably, right in stride now for Hayes, and then a shot is turned aside by Mason from the stick of Bergeron.
Nice play by Hayes again. Same play he made in the first period. Wasn't able to get a shot on goal. This one, it did. This is a play from Hayes to Bergeron.
And Bergeron was yelling at him all the time, saying, hazy, hazy, hazy. So a good job by everybody in terms of communication.
Kevin Miller saw that one whipped along by Bergeron, taking a swat, but keeping in tune with all of this is Hayes as he glides around to the outside and forced it around for Marchand. Defended off there, but it is nudged on for Couturier from Raffl. Started right back ahead by Schenn, got it up the wing now. Raffl fed it back for Schenn, checked away by Kapainen, taken along in traffic by Schenn, and sealed up by Tuukka Rask. 5:06 to go, second period of play, and it is still 1-1. Let's take a look at tonight Coors Light Cold Hard Facts, and you look at that line assembled during the game in Los Angeles. Dave Hackstall said it wasn't really that productive the rest of the game, but boy, did it ever become that way. They are empty tonight, but you saw the numbers they have posted since being assembled. Make coaches look pretty smart, don't they? Meanwhile, this is Umberger wanting to play further, and it skipped on for Chara. Popped it on back for Medvedev, and then it's Chara yet again. Over to Zach Trotman and return to Chara. Fed it ahead for the tip back in by Kapainen. Rescued by Mason. Off Kapainen. Wanted to center, but a good check there by Medvedev on him. So retrieved by Seidenberg. The last 4.5 minutes of the second period. Frank Vatrano moving along. Pivots away. Gives it onto the back. Colin Miller back on the outside. Vatrano, and the shot went off a skate in front of the net. Poked on by Seidenberg. Connolly trying to get by, but Lawton said no. And coming by is Medvedev. Loaded one, it's taken over and quickly gotten back to Seidenberg. Hurried a shot, safe. Rebound off the outside of the net from Connolly. Mason with the stop, and Connolly off the outside of the cage. Miller a shot, flexing at it, but missing, though it went wide. Mason. And now it is Reed. And a penalty coming up. The call is interference. And it will be on a flyer.
Yeah, it's on Medvedev.
So the best power play in the league gets its first opportunity of the night.
How about the chaos the forecheck of the Bruins created? Claude Julien talked about being physical and winning board battles. They did a ton of that during that last sequence, and it leads to the Medvedev interference penalty in the far corner from me. Right there on Dennis Seidenberg. We even had the defenseman pinching down. A strong side pitch by Seidenberg on Matt Reed. So you could see Claude Julien's message getting through to his team, Eddie.
10 straight kills by the Flyer penalty killers. 6 for the last 19 over 6 games for the Bruins on the power play. Pretty effective, though empty in the last 2. Work to the outside now and held there. Trying to step free. It is given back by Spooner. Led across now for Colin Miller. Fed one along for Bergeron. It's tipped back across for Spooner. To the back now to Krug. Back over for Spooner once more. Standing near the front, Eriksson. Score on the rebound. Louis Eriksson after the initial stop by Mason. A power play goal, and it's 2-1 in favor of Boston.
Boy, patience with the puck. Ryan Spooner gets his puck and just fires it to the net with Louis Eriksson standing in front of the net. 21 in white. Watch the quick hands of Eriksson. Rebound, and then put the puck past the glove of Steve Mason.
And the reason why he's a little bit open, watch Gudas. He overcommits to Bergeron because he has to, because Bergeron's an option in the slot. So that gives Louis Eriksson, who's got position on him, chance to win the race and get to the rebound. Gudas has just got to respect Bergeron in the high slot, and that's why Louis Eriksson gets a chance to jump on that rebound. Their conception on the power play, Eddie, I think in Boston's as good or better than anybody's in the league. I know they're number 1, but it's a conception of the power play that makes it work.
This is Zach Trutman. Well, it's talented players, Pierre, but is there some coaching credit that comes for that, too?
Oh, there's no question. Joe Sacco's done a great job with their power play in Boston. The former Boston University star and the head coach of the Colorado Avalanche.
Hooked on now for Max Talbot. Talbot wedged one, poked around behind, but knifed away by Strike from the reach of Ronaldo. Spooner and Torrey Krug get the assist on the power play goal scored by Eriksson, his 15th goal of the year, his 8th on the power play. Co-leader in that department now with Bergeron, both of them with the 8th. Back in, this comes now for Seidenberg to play in the last 2 3/4 minutes of the second period. Forced around by Colin Miller. Controlled by Ferraro, stood up there and wedged a bit by Gudas, and it's peeled off by Seidenberg again. Pretty good forecheck here by Simmons. It's turned over for a feed to Voracek, and the shot directed wide by Seidenberg. Seidenberg able to step to this one, shifting from defense to offense with a sky hook that is chased down by Ferraro. Ferraro tried to feed in front, and that one blocked off by Del Zotto. Another shot, Del Zotto got it. Bolesky a shot wide, and it's covered by Mason. Things starting to happen in that end of the ice. 2 hour left now, Peter.
Well, because Claude Julien's really pushed the right buttons with his team. And he wants them to win races like Landon Ferraro does right there. He wants guys to get to the front of the net. They do have body presence to the net. And then Bolesky, obviously, with the chance.
2 good plays there. Sorry, Pierre. 2 good plays from Michael Del Zotto there. An initial play by Ferraro, trying to get that puck to the weak side, and then he was able to deny another opportunity.
Winning races really helps Boston right now. The Flyers were winning the race in the first period. Now Boston's winning in the second.
Scoring chances are 12-8 in favor of Boston. They've had the last 4, and included in that a goal. Zdeno Chara with that one, led it back onto Bolesky. Wanted to feather it through, could not. 2 minutes to go in the period. Stepping back along, controlling nicely and forehanding one wide. That time was Lawton, and it's played and held off the boards by Rask. Watch every NHL game live online, on mobile, tablet, and now on connected TVs with NBC Sports Live Extra. Download the app or go to NBCSports.com/Live Extra. Watch the biggest events anytime, anywhere. There is the guy who has the margin of potential victory for the Boston Bruins. And again, it is a clutch of teams all trying for the wild card with lots of time, lots of jockeying back and forth in the standings between now and April 9th, when the Flyers are home to the Pittsburgh Penguins and the Phillies are playing. It's a long time away, half a season, and can you imagine how many changes in these tight standings there'll be between now and then? From all of this, it's nudged over to Krug, and Torrey Krug is able to bring it back out. Escapes as far as center. It's filtered right back ahead. He tangled up enough with Raffl that Raffl could not get to it, and it's twisted back over to him by Kevin Miller. That pass misfires and goes back down for an icing.
Eddie, we always talk about the importance of faceoffs. Couturier is very good for Philadelphia. Watch Patrice Bergeron. He's got to put his stick down first. He does. And that little chip of the puck, that allows the Bruins, because of the support from Kevin Miller, to move it over to Torrey Krug up and out of the zone. But just that second effort from Bergeron allows Miller to skate into the puck and move it to Krug.
I don't think Bergeron's stick ever hit the ice. He was just going right in there to make sure that he didn't lose it cleanly. And a lot of people think it's an individual stat. That's the way it comes up in the score sheet, but it certainly is a team.
Gudas with a shot that was wide. Kevin Miller turned it around behind for Krug. Gotten as far as center. Gudas flew one on a cross. On one hop to Miller. Locked up a bit there by Belmar, and then it's pushed on back to Gudas yet again. Former Tampa Bay Lightning player gave that one across to Del Zotto. Back on to Gudas once more. Fakes the drive. Gives on over. White! Combination in front. It's spiked just wide. What an opportunity was set up there, as driving toward the net was Van de Velde.
What a play from Ryan White.
I don't know how Van de Velde missed that. I really don't, Eddie. And
Not too strong of a bottom hand. He just had to open up that stick blade, and the puck goes right into the wide open net. But
it's Vatrano dueling here. Two aside in the last 30 seconds of the second period. Medvedev there. Simmons. And then shuttled back down. And this one will not go for an icing as Voracek wins the race back. Voracek ridden off there by Chara. Taken along by Vatrano. And a bouncer on out. His hand passed along by Manning. Hustling on is Vatrano, though. Kept away by Manning.
Sorry, Doug. There's that real good speed of Vatrano. He's made a couple of real good plays here in the second period to push back the defense of the Flyers. Oh, let's go back to that opportunity for Chris Van de Velde. Gudas with the drop pass. Waits. Look at Van de Velde. And puts it in between Tuukka Rask and the wide open net. Great play from White. Look at his head up the whole way. Wow. Can't come much closer than that.
40 minutes have been played. Coming up on the Discover Card Intermission Report, Liam, Mike, and Keith. Bruins odd man rush opportunities and a suspension has been handed down. Hope it's not one of us. 40 minutes played here. Voracek with one for Philadelphia. Kevin Miller and Louis Eriksson with one each for the Boston Bruins. I think Flyers at the end of one. What did you notice in the second period in particular?
Well, let's go back. It's a 1-0 game, right, for the Flyers. And they got 5 players on the ice. But watch what ends up happening. This is the Talbot play, right? Stop it right here. Look at this. And watch Talbot make that play. This is an even straight goal. But there are only 4 Flyer players on the ice, and Miller goes top shelf.
When you're in the midst of a change like that, there's supposed to be a lot of yelling, right?
Well, yeah, communication. And I mean, always try to make sure that everybody knows who you have. And
it was quiet down here.
Here is Raffl. His team down by 1.
It's not always the coach's fault. I mean, it's always easy to blame the coach for too many men on the ice or not enough. Players know who they have. So it's a combination, and I'm more on the side of blaming the player in those type of situations.
Nice steal there by Marchand. Pivots, delays, reinforcements from the bench. Spooner, and then to the back for a shot by Trotman that was saved by Mason. Forced back up the boards again, and it can be turned and filtered on back again by Raffl. And now he will come to the bench on a change. Smoked out, but recovering and moving nicely on out was Del Zotto. Got it over to Simmons. Laid one across that is poked up high by a high stick, and that of Eriksson. Let's take a look at tonight's Mercedes-Benz storyline, Pierre.
Well, the anatomy of why we're at this juncture of the game. There you see Jake Voracek turns his hand around the stick like Eddie said, 1-0. And then Kevin Miller snapping it home, the former Catamount, up and over the glove. And how about this one? Ryan Spooner, juicy rebound. Louis Eriksson out of Frölunda, Sweden. Thank you very much.
And so that's where we stand. The Bruins have 15 losses this year. 3 of them were when they had leads going into the third, and that's noteworthy because last year they only had 1 such loss. That was a nice stop made by Rask there on a wraparound attempt from Claude Giroux. Meanwhile, it's taken on and punched on further by Simmons, gathered in by Chara, rescued by Simmons, and nicely stolen from him by Bolesky. Off the boards for Eriksson, punched right back in deep and corralled by Mason. Rattled on around, and it can be kept momentarily by Hayes. But that's the operative word as the Flyers are able to direct one back. Dennis Seidenberg takes over there. It is Ronaldo, while wiping out, pushing it back in. That line again has been impressive. They are +1 in the game, the only even strength goal that the Bruins scored. And also through 2 periods, they've been able to log hits and get shots. 4 shots, 7 hits, and everybody on the line has at least 1 of both. It is Ronaldo, but then Ferraro. Ferraro pushed for Ronaldo, settled down by Reed, and sent behind. Medvedev brings it on. Bruins making another change as he is able to sail it back in. Lawton able to jam it behind off a stick. Forced right back around, and as far as center couldn't be reached by Connolly, but could by Del Zotto. It is White. Nicely spiked down by Rask and calmly played to Miller. Kevin Miller got it onto Krug and then up the wing. But Toronto ran into the trouble of Gudas. Back in deeper it goes. Vandevelde there, but taking the man was Kevin Miller. The battle on along the corner boards. Wanting to step free and getting it pushed to the back that time was White. Shot by Gudas, and that blocked down. Gudas tries for it again. Whacked at there by Vandevelde. Could not be reached by Rask. Vandevelde follows up and is walled back off. Still they spar for it onto the back, and it's Del Zotto dropping it back in again, and Krug takes over. The forecheck is on. White rams into Krug, but got mostly boards and glass this time. Crowd a little restless. There is the start of a chant. 3:20 gone in the third period. The Bruins are holding the last of the wild card berths. Lots of time left, but 5 teams are in pursuit. One of those is the team in orange. Around behind now, it is jabbed back up the boards. The 5 teams are separated by 4 points. There are others pursuing too, but they are further back. This is Seidenberg tucking it back over for Colin Miller. Whacked on back and a good reach there by Hayes. You cannot teach size. Hayes has that at 6'5" and 215 and a good reach. Played back on now by Schenn. That one careened to Colin Miller and back over for Chara to return. Directed right back in again, wide of Mason. Taken along by Bolesky behind. Sent one that Mason was able to block off. Oh, and then another try by Eriksson at the front. Was shut down too. 3-on-2 developing. Moving back in with it, Voracek. Let it across Red Drive. That's wide by Medvedev. Voracek around behind again, peeling off defensively Medvedev. Voracek able to turn with it, but lost it to Spooner, who feeds one along that careened back to center.
Medvedev hit the net, it was in. It's a smart idea, just missed the net.
It dropped on back now for Giroux to feed over to Medvedev again. Shoved right back down by Ronaldo.
Just waited a tad too long to get rid of that puck. Sorry, Doc, that first chance by Medvedev. Beautiful pass from Jake Voracek. Pierre was right on that line. He was able to see that wide open net, and behind Tuukka Rask was moving right to left.
It is Kevin Miller turning it back across, and it's cranked back in again by Krug. Medvedev with the most scoring chances for the Flyers tonight at 3. Moving after this was Max Talbot, taking it along as Krug, and he dumped it around behind. As far as center, it's Krug.
Delzato giving a rough ride behind the play.
That was Delzato. It was Ronaldo that got him, and then Talbot paid the price.
Delzato stepped into Talbot, and this one careened on back. And so Luck. Max Talbot having something to say to one of the referees as he came to the bench.
Yeah, he said, wasn't that a little bit late? Saying that to TJ Luxmore as he comes off the ice.
Definition of late by league standards is 0.8 seconds. Led back ahead, but off the stick of Belmar. Worked back up the wing, and it's Brett Connolly with it. Connolly forced around behind, able to escape with it now. Wheels to the outside, has Seidenberg with a gun loaded, but he hands it back over now to Colin Miller. Ripped on back, Seidenberg with a shot, and that one deflected to the corner. Poked along by Kampainen, but taken by Mark Streit. And Streit flipped it out of play into his own bench. Reaching the middle stages of the third period in a low-scoring game, the visitors by 1.
In the first period, Doc Emmerich called it a contact sport. Well, that's a little bit from behind by Zach Ronaldo and Michael Delzato. Matt Reed comes over and challenges, and then Max Talbot thinks that Delzato hit him late. At the end of it, during the TV timeout, Claude Julien came over to Max Talbot. Just calm down and play your game. You're playing well.
Well, that line certainly is. Last two games in particular, here is Shannon feeding it on a cross, knocked away from Raffl as he was trying to settle it down.
A giveaway by Torrey Krug there. Passing that puck through the middle of the ice. Flyers not able to take advantage.
On the bounce, it is snapped up and held by Mason.
Gudas and Marchand.
Wednesday night is rivalry night on NBCSN. Vladimir Tarasenko and the Blues head to Hockeytown to take on Thomas Tatar. And how do you say that nickname?
Red Wings.
Well, okay, enough R's there. Coverage of the night you love to hate begins next Wednesday at 7 Eastern on NBCSN. You roll through those R's really well.
Well, there's Torrey Krug. He had pressure from behind, the pressure from Couturier, and tries to go through the middle of the ice. That's one of those where you probably want to put in your back pocket, just move up.
Yeah, and when he got to the bench, that man was not very happy. The crown of his head was turning red. I can say that because we have the same barber.
Old defenseman himself, Claude Julien. It is Voracek with the long toss that's deflected back down by Chara. And we get a halt to play.
And Doc, you were talking about the old defenseman. One night he was playing in the American Hockey League. One of his partners was Alain Vigneault, now the coach of the Rangers. They were playing against George McPhee, the New York Rangers farm team. And Vigneault kept talking, and then Jack Evans comes over to Claude and says, take care of it. So he and George McPhee get into a huge battle, and it was a hellacious fight. And Claude was talking about that this morning when we had a chance to visit with the coaches. This is how tough George McPhee, the former general manager of the Washington Capitals, was.
Claude got some NHL time with the Quebec Nordiques. Collected one NHL point, but it was against Montreal, so it was as good as 5.
I thought you were going to say 100 there.
On to the back now at Schultz. Hands it back over further. Tangled up in traffic was in trying to stick handle. That time was Streit. It's angled on a cross for the take by Ryan Spooner. Spooner crosses, delays now, nicely through traffic, banked it on around, and it came on now to Eriksson. Eriksson guided it back, sent across to Chara for a drive, and most everyone, including the glass, was hoping to get out of the way of that one.
Jason never saw it with the screen by Bolesky.
Brought back in by Spooner. Fed one that was spiked away, but up into the mesh.
The penalty here. This should be a penalty. This should be a penalty. It hit the, it was a back check, I believe, of Brandon Manning coming all the way back. Ryan Spooner's trying to get this puck to the front of the net, and Manning knocks this puck out of midair into the netching to the left of Steve Mason. And this is going to be a delay of game.
Eddie, good eye by you.
Right part of your screen. Right there. I mean, I don't like that in this type of situation, in this play here, I know what the rule is, but clearly he's trying to defend, and his outstanding hand-eye coordination there ends up burning him because he knocked it out into the neshing there and a delay of game. So an opportunity and a half here for the Bruins to get a 2-goal cushion.
They scored on their prior power play tonight. See what happens here. Ryan Spooner has it. Peeling off to the side is Eriksson. Fed one on now for Colin Miller. Then back to Krug. It is Spooner once more. Inside the 4-man box is Bergeron. It went off of Eriksson and is held to the outside of the net by Mason.
Now Ryan Spooner's got crafty hands and real good vision. There's an example of the hands and the vision putting that down to the target presented by Louis Eriksson. And Eddie, it's amazing how this power play functions because everybody does overcommit to Bergeron. That opens up so much for Louis Eriksson.
You pointed it out when we did the Bruins a little bit earlier in the year where Bergeron stands on this power play where really so too far out for the defenseman and too far away for the forwards to cover him, and he's always in the outlet.
Shovel failed that time from Eriksson. Meanwhile, it is spiked on right into Spooner. In close quarters, battled for, and eventually pushed back down by Couturier.
That's the way you stay with a play there. Got denied a couple of times on the board, and then finally was able to will it out.
Pitch back in by Krug. Moving in after it is Bergeron. Still dueling there with Schultz. Help came from Gudas. Sent back up the boards, Colin Miller. Handed across to Krug once more. Eriksson in front of the goalkeeper. It is Spooner's side of the net. Eriksson is peeled off to take this. Looks. Tried to feed it on back. It's blocked back down. And a good job there by Belmar. 3/4 of a minute to go on the penalty kill for the Flyers. 11:15 to go, third period. Flyers had the first goal of the game in the first. 2 second period markers by the Bruins. Back on now comes Marchand. Rushed into him. It careened for White to clear back down and near the net. Now then Chara bringing it off. Let a pass ahead that's steamed back in by Bolesky. Rattled on around near Connolly. Poked on back to the point. Chara has it yet again. Marchand duels some more. Chara fed one in front. Blocked away by Medvedev. Played on by Reed. Medvedev covers. Gets it back to the safety of center. Marchand stood up there by Reed. They hold. Play it across to Delzato. Penalty time is up. And it's full strength action with the Flyers trailing by 1. And a drive is eaten up by Rask from the stick of Delzato.
Well, let's take a look at the upcoming Flyer games on CSN Philadelphia. Saturday, the Rangers will be here in Philly at 1 Eastern. Maple Leafs will be here on Tuesday at 7 Eastern. And then next Thursday night, Flyers will be in Pittsburgh to take on the Penguins.
Chambers of Commerce of the 2 Pennsylvania cities are always trying to help one another out. I'm sure they'll be waiting to greet the Flyers there. This is Giroux. He's got Streit in the shooting hole, but it popped loose to Trotman. Sends it around to Chara. Chara wanted to play further. Jostled off there. Was Voracek in close quarters with Chara. Off of Ronaldo. Pitched back out again by Ferraro. Hustling after this is Max Talbot, sized up there by Manning. The two of them continue to work for it along with Streit and Ronaldo. And fed to the outside now for Giroux, and a nice pass ahead. Might be a break. Up the wing comes Simmons. Simmons a shot save. Rebound, he scores!
The depth players of the Bruins, Ronaldo, Ferraro, and Talbot have had a good night, but they're out against the top line of the Philadelphia Flyers. Chara pinches down. He can't match pace with Simmons. One opportunity gets shut down. The second one can't be shut down. Simmons ties it up.
Boy, watch the passing play by these 2 players right here. Move the puck, move yourself. Simmons looks like he wants to get this puck back to Voracek. Decides to shoot the puck, follow up. and beats Tuukka Rask. But how about the play by Claude Giroux out of his own zone to be able to get that puck to his line mates that were exiting the zone. Giroux made a really good play out of his own zone. And a huge goal for the Flyers.
It will become the 400th career point of Jake Voracek. The primary assist on the tying goal here by Simmons is 11. Thrown right back in by Colin Miller. And a handoff, and it's steamed through the crease and wide on the giveaway to Vatrano. Brought on back by Schultz. Flopped across, and it is protected there by Umberger. Dropped back along and deeper. Lawton tied up there by Kemppainen. It's sent back to the half boards. Poked away from the reach of Reed by Colin Miller. Brought on by Connolly and lobbed back in. And it will be an icing.
This is an unforced error by Brett Connolly. And his line mates, Kemppainen and Vatrano, are tired, as is he. All he has to do is take an extra step.
Take another look at that goal, and good defense leads to offensive work. Look at Simmons. He's working down low. Move the puck. And then that beautiful little pass right in between Landon Ferraro and Zdeno Chara, and the Flyers are off to the races. What the hustle, though, by Simmons. He was below the goal line. He got the puck, moved it, and then became an outlet.
Del Zotto with a shot that ricocheted off someone en route. Looked like it was Belmar. Meanwhile, this can be hoisted back out again by Krug and back down. Right on goal, so it's tended by Mason. Under 9 minutes to go, third period. For the third time in the game, we are tied if you count 0-0. Graham back in, and going after it is Krug, and an icing is called this time against Philly. Birthdays: Mike Rupp, Mark Stahl, Paul Higgins, Connor McDavid, Al Peterson, Jack Johnson, all born on this day. Mike Palmateer, Cesar Maniago was born on this day. Nikolai Habibulin, Sergei Brelin, Kyle Clifford, Kelly Rudy, a lot of goalies, and a coach, Bill Peters. And the Today Show is 64 tomorrow. Just to show you, I know who I work for. Offensive zone face-off for the Bruins. And it goes to the corner, and it's Del Zotto rattling it on around. Still they battle, and Matt Lauer likes to come to hockey games in New York a lot. How'd I do? Anyway, Simmons has tied this at 10-10. Voracek with the primary assist, and we're all even at 2. Look at tonight's player profile with insights from SAP. Yeah, it's been a reestablishment sort of game for the guys who have done it so long. Claude Giroux, Jake Voracek. Face-off percentage is 6th in the NHL for that guy. Leads the team in goals and points. Named to the All-Star team later this month in Nashville. And has the primary assist on the first goal, the secondary on the tying goal. He has been important. One more bit of jostling here and a change in lines for the Flyers. Giroux to come out and take the draw opposite Ryan Spooner. Schultz. Strike. Voracek. Giroux to Voracek. For Giroux, but that one played across. Mark Streit moved up on the play and stashed it.
How about the passing play by the Flyers in the middle of the ice? Voracek and Giroux playing pitch and catch. The initial chance doesn't get through to Tuukka Rask. And then Streit really from an impossible angle.
And how about the coach, Dave Hackstall, the Flyers, off the timeout, comes with his top line against the third line of the Bruins. We talked about in the first period, you can see Claude Julien's hands are tied. Not enough depth without Krejci being here.
2 goals, 1 minute and 22 seconds apart. And a 1-goal deficit is now a 1-goal lead for the home team. Brushed along by Gudas, cranked back in by Trotman, deflected high by Mason, grabbed off by Couturier, led one ahead for Raffl, who gave it up to Krug. Right on the stick of Hayes and right back in again. Bruins are making changes in lines. Angled on ahead. Voracek and Giroux get the assists. They are on a 3.9, figuring on all the Flyers' goals.
Well, the Bruins have 3 losses when leading after 2 periods, which is tied for the most in the National Hockey League with the Colorado Avalanche, including their loss in their last game against the Rangers. Last year, they only lost 1 game leading after 2 periods, 27-1-3. They're down now in the third after leading going to this period.
Seidenberg flipped it ahead. Off Ronaldo. And then guided across now. Belmar with an opening. Save made by Rask.
Eddie, point well taken. So look at the depleted roster. No Gregory Campbell, no Danny Pye, no Chris Kelly, no Milan Lucic. You can go down the line. The Bruins are going through a little bit of a cultural change, and that man's coaching his tail off to try to keep him competitive.
Kelly missing his 31st with a left leg break. Krejci his 7th upper body. And Adam McQuaid back on defense, missing his 4th.
That's another big one for them. Absolutely, Doc.
Big body.
Scoring chances in this period are 6-1 in favor of the Flyers and 2 goals. But time remaining 7.5 minutes. Drop back in for Chara. And along now to Vetrano. Fed through to Connolly, who poked it by and raced in after it. Coasts on in now with Manning, and they cancel. Given up, though, for a bad angle shot by Hayes and a rebound that's pushed off of Mason. And fed back down. Beg your pardon, that was Kemppainen on that far side, short side try. Kemppainen able to bang that one back out to center. And helped out by Strike. It is Schultz leading it ahead, and it's brought back in on the deflection of Umberger and set up by Rask. 6:50 to go in the third. Krug able to motor ahead with it now. Rips it right back around, and an offside is called. Inside the glass, here's Pierre.
Well, everybody talks about great players in this league. One of the guys that's really starting to feel it here the second half of the year to start for the Flyers, Big Voracek. Strong in the boards, strong in the slot. Big Voracek's a big body who can make plays with the puck, without the puck. And you can just see hustling and bustling all over the ice, plays give and go with Claude Giroux. And eventually that puck finds its way off the stick of Mark Streit to the back of the net.
Eddie Olczyk was pretending he was a horseman, assessing all of this in the pregame. Thought he was going to be breaking out of it by the way that he had been playing. And so he did. Dropped on back now to Seidenberg. Gave it up to Voracek. Holds to the outside. And a good defensive job done on him by Kevin Miller.
And a slight hesitation by Voracek. Not allowing to finish off a high-quality scoring chance.
Here's Brayden Schenn stepping back in again. Schenn putting on the brakes. Holds and is rocked a little bit with a lacrosse check with 6 minutes to go in regulation time. And the Bruins have it and start back up. Louis Eriksson able to shuffle it back in, hoping Marchand can get there. He does, but is run off there by Gudas. Plenty of Flyers were back, and so it is one of them, Del Zotto, who rattles around to another. That's through Schenn. Spiked right on goal and snapped out of the air by Mason. 5:43 to go, third period of play. The guy you don't count on for many of these has gotten the tiebreaker, Mark Streit. 3-2, Philadelphia. Down by 1, but have an offensive zone face-off. The guy that broke the tie sits there. Mark Streit at the Flyers bench. Del Zotto couldn't handle, but got some help from Mason to do so. And then further help from Couturier, but it's not out. Kept by Krug, flipped to the front, kneeling block there by Gudas. Puck came across and is hoisted, but not out. Again by Schenn. It is Marchand turning. Closed off by Gudas. Gudas able to tip it further, but it is held and spun back around by Krug. Taken by Marchand, stood up there. Marchand recoiled and continues to battle. Reaching in is Hayes, taking is Marchand. Worked it onto the point. Krug got it over. Colin Miller couldn't settle it down. And it's poked right back out. Regathered there and spun across by Bergeron and taken by Krug. Rattled back in and changes for Boston.
Good shoot in there from Krug. High and hard around the glass. Mason stayed home.
Here's Chara dipping the shoulder to the slot with it. Couldn't get a good shot away, and it escaped on over to Bergeron. Gave it over to Chara. Right back through Bergeron. Whipped on but missed by Marchand. Poked on by Hayes. Moving back in again is Bergeron going to work on Bellemare. They cancel, and it's pushed on down to Schenn. And Schenn with a little over 4.5 to go in the third. And his team up by 1 gives to Raffl. Raffl challenged there by Colin Miller not once but twice, and Raffl emerges. A little bit of help came there, and then White is checked. Punched away from White, but he regathers again. White spun it back around, taken by Bellemare. Has Van de Velde at the front. Max Talbot going to work on him. Fourth liners against fourth liners right now. Puck taken along by Streit. Popped it on back, and it came off the shelf, and is still battled for there. Chara looking for some help. Didn't get it just yet. Worked along by Colin Miller, and right back to it is Bellemare once more. Thrown across the net mouth well wide. Along it is sent back in again. Fed back on for the turn by Ferraro, and the give to Chara, and the Bruins can finally march out with it. Ronaldo poked it along, Streit cut it off there. Bruins making a change defensively, but they're set now, as this is thrown back in by Van de Velde, and fielded by Krug. Little over 3.5 to go. Carried back out now by Krug. Nicely up the wing it comes to Spooner, and a shot is eaten up. And clutched to that E on the chest by Mason. We do have half a season to go. It is going to be a log jam, and better you not be left behind. If the Flyers win this in 60, they can be to within 2 points of that last spot. If you go back to the latter part of November, the Flyers were 8 points away from the last playoff berth and seemingly buried. You just put together a good stretch, and all of a sudden you can be in it. They have won 3 in a row at home, or check that, 5 in a row at home, and 3 in a row overall. So it comes out now for the pass by Seidenberg on over. Jabbed ahead now for the carry by Bolesky. Does a button hook there and filtered it past to Seidenberg, who hurried one, and that jammed away at the side of the net, as poking right around in front was Eriksson. Voracek able to lead it on, and the Flyers look like they've got enough for an odd man rush. Carried back on by Giroux, caught and paddled back into play by Rask. Under 3 minutes to go, falling as Seidenberg flexed it along, played back along by Voracek. Reversed onto Seidenberg once more, has Bolesky and carefully plays to him. Rugged winger able to hand it across now. Kampinen couldn't field that, but it's a pass to Bolesky that came from Connolly. Once more, it is sent back around by Mark Streit. This one curled all the way back to center. Fielded there by Vatrano, given across to Chara, and he blasts it back in. 2.5 to go. The deficit for the Bruins is 1. Skip right back up the half boards, and it's pitchforked back out once again. Chara to turn with that one. Stoked it back up. Kampinen fields it there and is able to step back in. Kampinen put it into the catching glove of Mason, who decides at this point to wait.
Well, Tuukka Rask is drifting over to the Bruins bench, looking for some direction from head coach Claude Julien. And the hand has gone up, and you're going to have the extra attacker.
Eddie, when you have a face-off man like Patrice Bergeron, who can really dominate the face-off circle, I think that gives a coach a lot of confidence in pulling the goalie early, especially when the face-off's down here.
Without question.
57%, one of the best in the league at this right now. And off the tie-up, getting it is Eriksson.
Bergeron broke his stick off that face-off.
Has to get another from the bench. Meanwhile, this is knifed back down, has gotten one. But more time has dribbled off the clock here. Spooner couldn't settle that one down. Pushed on back, and it comes to Couturier. Save me! Another shot went wide.
Colin Miller was a goalie that made the initial save.
Good work with the pad. Laid back across for Bergeron. Sent back on for Marchand. Crisply ahead now for Spooner. Spooner just delaying in the last minute 37. Side of the net play. Comes back on to Spooner. Led it to the back. A dump shot by Miller. His stick is broken in half. And he is powerless to drop back. He'll do it anyway. And it's off the outside of the cage from Reed. Carried right back by Bergeron. Bruins trying to with it. Now is Spooner. Flies it to the corner. Eriksson with it. Eriksson flipped one around behind. Battle for there. They've got Bergeron in front. Can't make a play there. And it's bounced on back to center. Trotman able to connect back on. Chara in the last minute, 2. Flopped it to the corner. Bruins making some more changes. Rattled on around by Schultz. Jabbed one free to the outside. Held there by Connolly. Connolly works onto Hayes. Marchand near the opposite side at the net. Work back onto the outside. Hayes directed just wide by Vetrano. Marchand feels that one. Marchand able to dump by 1. Pivots now. Looking for some space. He got it on back. Held there by Trotman, given over to Chara. Chara floats one. Settled down, though, by Medvedev. He's able to move back out and hoist one that Trotman is able to grab with 28 to go. Rattled on around, and once again it is tipped by Vetrano. Given right back to him again, though, by Hayes. Vetrano, a shot knocked away to the corner by Mason. Sent on back to the point, it's Trotman. Fires! And that one blocked down. Comes back over. Vetrano, a shot, and it's kicked away in front. Played and knocked away from Trotman. 8 seconds to go. They have to regather and do it quickly. Vetrano to play it there. The fans are standing to the last 2 seconds, and the Flyers have won it. 5 goals against in his last 3 games for Mason. 4 straight wins for the Flyers overall. 6 straight wins on home ice. The complexion of a season changes as they hit officially the halfway point. Voracek early, and then he and Giroux would figure on the other 2. Simmons broke a 2-1 Bruins lead, knotting it up early in the period. And then just a minute 22 later, Streit got what turned out to be the last goal of the night. Final score in Philadelphia, the home team 3, the visitors 2, and now Liam McHugh.